Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, in the wake of what's happening with Andrew, who has had his title removed, can no longer call himself Prince, um, I started looking, and all the furore about him being moved out of the Royal Lodge at Windsor, and where is he going to live? This poor guy, is he going to be homeless? And then it results that Charlie Boy, his brother, has decided he's going to put him in the Sandringham estate at his cost. Oh, that's so generous of him, isn't it? Charlie Boy, where does he get his money from? He's paying for it, but who pays him? Anyway, I thought that was maybe the British taxpayer, but anyway, never mind. And that made me think, where did Charlie have to choose from? When he was trying to find somewhere to put Andrew, because of course Andrew can't be homeless, can he? Not like a lot of people end up being homeless, don't they? When they commit crimes or, do things wrong and alienate themselves from their families. And they end up homeless. But of course, Andrew couldn't end up homeless, could he? So Charles had to decide. What headache it must have been for Charles to decide where to put Andrew. And I'll tell you why, because Charles has got that many homes. He's got more homes than homes under the hammer. It's like ridiculous how many homes he's got. So while everybody's out there looking sideways at immigrants and single parents and other people blaming them for the fact that Britain has got no money, or that the Gulf, poor people in Britain, there's people in Britain that can't feed their children or put food on the table, that have to go to food banks to feed themselves, even though maybe they're working because they just don't earn enough money to keep a family. While that's all going on and everybody's blaming each other, Charlie Boy is living in complete opulence with at least 16 homes to choose from. And these homes are all over Britain, but also abroad, Romania, the Scilly Isles. He's got properties everywhere. We don't even know all of them. So I had a little Google, as you do, and it came up on Google about on Home and Country of certain properties of Charles. These are not all of them. And one of these properties that we're going to look at, which is where he has finally, God, it must have took him ages to work out where to send Andrew, because he had that many to choose from. He decided, hasn't he, to send him to Sandringham. And, they're making it sound as if, oh, poor Andrew, he's been moved out of one stately home to another. It's not, it's not a downgrade. Sandringham, we'll see. In a minute, we're going to look at all these properties and we'll see. The way they're talking about it as if it's some sort of hardship. I mean, you'd like to go and live there. I'd like to go and live there. It's a massive estate. So we're going to look at this, a guide to all of the King Charles's homes, and they're not all of them. He has more than this. There are some that aren't mentioned. Now we'll look at this video first. I mean, honestly, God, there are so many. I don't know how long this video is going to take me. I was hoping to do a quick video, but it's impossible to be quick. So, Buckingham Palace, 775 rooms. Why? 775 rooms that have to be upkept. Why don't they put some of the immigrants in there, maybe? Put some immigrants in there, that he hardly ever uses it, but it still needs upkeep, doesn't it? Just in case he decides to go there one day. 775 rooms, and that's just one property. the headquarters for the king's staff. And Windsor Castle, another property owned by the Crown, 13 acres, 1,000 rooms. And of course, this was where Andrew was, but not in the Windsor Castle itself, in the lodge, the Royal Lodge, which, you say the Royal Lodge and you imagine this sort of small annex, don't you, or whatever, but of course it's massive. So 13 acres, 1,000 rooms, Windsor. The largest occupied castle in the world, an hour from Buckingham Palace. Then, Holyrood Palace in Edinburgh. So he stays there during Holyrood week. So he keeps this all year round just to stay there for 1 week. Honestly, everything's just becoming so clear. I'm sure, I'm not a monarchist and I've never been a monarchist. But now looking at this, this situation with Andrew, one good thing that it has brought about is people are looking more closely at everything. So not only Charlie Boy's dubious connections with many PDFs, not only Andrew, his brother, but, Jimmy Savile, the bishop guy that he was defending, Mr. Ball, Peter Ball, I think he was called, Rolf Harris, all these connections that the royal family have got with PDFs, and Louis Mountbatten, one of their own, a recognised PDF over in Ireland, where he was finally assassinated, and they blamed it on the IRA, but some people think that maybe it wasn't the IRA because stories were going to come out about him. So everyone knows that Lord Mountbatten was a PDF. It's generally sort of accepted now as truth, but nothing ever happened to him. He was never held to account, just like Andrew won't be held to account. And why is Charles protecting Andrew so much? I know he's his brother. I understand that. He is his brother, royal family or not. But if it was you, if it was me, if it was our brother, our father, our cousin, our nephew, our uncle, our husband, our son, we would not be able to protect our loved one from what the justice that they should get, the sort of comeuppance that should be made accountable for their actions. Andrew will never be held accountable for his actions, and you wonder why. When you think about the way Harry and Meghan were treated, they were told they couldn't stay in their house any longer because they were no longer working royals. But they weren't PDFs, were they? Anyway, they went off to America in the end, and nobody's forgiven them for it, I think. But they didn't do what Andrew did, but they weren't protected as much as Andrew is. Their security details were taken away from them. I think Shamila's got big influence on Charles as well. And the thing is, I do think that Andrew, he knows too much about Charles. Andrew knows where the bodies are buried. That's why he's being protected. That's my honest opinion. Then Balmoral, of course, I think this was the Queen's favourite residence. Built by Queen Victoria. They have a house for every, they spend their vacation at Balmoral, and I think the Queen died there, didn't she? That's where she chose to go to die. I think that was her favourite place. So here, this is where Andrew is being exiled to. People making a great big fuss about it as if he's, it's some step down. You wouldn't mind being sent here, would you? Told to live here and being paid for? Because Charles says he's paying for it out of his own money, but of course, where does Charles get his money from? A private home acquired in 1862 for the future King Edward VII. I just think it's terrible that they have all these homes. It's totally unnecessary, you know. And everyone will always say, "Oh, you can't get rid of the royal family because of tourism." Yeah, what? People will still go in there, open up this house, and charge people to go and have a look at it. You know, they don't need all these properties. How much is it costing to upkeep 16 properties, many of which are castles that must take, well, they all take massive upkeep. Not telling me that if there was not royal family living in them, they were opened up instead to actually maybe bring some money in for Britain. These don't bring any money in for Britain. You know, that is a total fallacy, that. And if you think that people won't still go to the Tower of London or go and see the Crown Jewels or do whatever that tourists do, they'd still go and look at France. People still go to Versailles. They still go to look at all the tourist attractions. You know, you don't need these parasites living in them. Let him choose one home. Like most people have only one. If they're lucky, they've got one. A lot of people don't even have one. There's some people have more than one. And if they've worked for it, and, you know, then fair enough. This man has not worked for his properties. He was just lucky enough to get plopped into, when he was born, get born into the royal family. He hasn't worked for these properties. He hasn't earned them. And there's too many of them anyway. And then he turns around and tells us all to lead a simple life. And he says he's some sort of eco warrior. So, you know, it really is. So this is now, make sure, so this, oh God, look at this. What is wrong with these people? So this is Christmas Day. And people are going, you know, to cheer the royal family going to church, like it's some sort of achievement. So this is where the royal family spends Christmas. Is that why he's putting Andrew there? So at least Andrew will be able to spend Christmas with him. Well, he won't be able to do the public bit of going to church and blah, de, blah, de, blah. He won't be able to do that. But he's there at Sandringham, so I suppose he'll be able to join in the Christmas party or whatever. Why do people go and do that? You know, what is the... It just looks so ridiculous to me. These were in the times when Harry and Meghan were there, of course, by the look of it. Yeah. Yeah. Why would you do that? Famously, the royal family spends Christmas here. Oh my God. Another castle, Hillsborough Castle in Northern Ireland. 100-acre property owned by the Crown. The British government bought it in 1920. You know what? Dear me. Which of the king's homes would you most like to visit? Perfectly honest, I wouldn't like to visit any of them really, but because I'd just get angry. But anyway, that was a few of them on that video. So look at these. Highgrove House. Buckingham Palace that we looked at. Oh, there's a secret swimming pool on the property, apparently. Windsor Castle. That, of course, is where the Queen is actually buried. Dumfries House in Scotland. The Palace of Holyrood House. Balmoral Castle. Burke Hall. Again, this is in Aberdeenshire. the Sandringham estate. So yeah, don't forget this is this tiny little place that Andrew has been banished to. The Castle of May. You know, don't forget all these properties, they need upkeep. They need upkeep. They need staff. They need the gardens doing. They need cleaning. They need refurbishing. Where's the money coming from? He spends the start of every summer vacation at the castle before he heads to Balmoral. The old mill in Wiltshire. And this was Charles's newest property purchased in March 2025. Oh, it neighbours Camilla's home, Ray Mill House. Apparently he bought it because he was anxious that it might be turned into a wedding venue. And then in that way jeopardise the privacy of Camilla's country retreat. Oh, can you imagine that? Yeah, oh, I think they're going to build a wedding venue next to my house, darling. Oh, that's okay, I'll just buy it. Then they won't, and I'll just buy it and leave it there, and they won't be able to build a wedding venue. The new arrangement is a pragmatic solution, being both a sound financial investment and a way of maintaining Her Majesty's privacy protection and continued enjoyment of her much-loved home. Hasn't she got enough other homes without any public funds being used? What? So, yeah, well, do you know what? If you believe that, you believe anything, because just the fact they have to say it, all Charles's money are public funds. So the Blue House in Transylvania, and God, so he's got two places, I think, in Romania, and one of them he rents out. You can go and stay there when he's not there. Airbnb type place. This one, yeah, there's a Lang guest house. You want to stay in a royal guest house? It's got 7 rooms. Hillsborough Castle. Again, look at all the gardens and everything. Northern Ireland. Dolphin House. On the Isles of Scilly, on the Scilly Isles. I mean, why does he need all these properties? Another vacation home. How many vacation homes do you need? The one that I can't pronounce, I'm sorry, I'm not going to butcher it by even attempting to pronounce it. Sorry, anybody Welsh who's watching. In Wales, this place, his main residence in Wales. The interiors of the home were designed by Annabel Elliott, Camilla's sister. Oh, I wonder how much she got paid for doing that. I tell you what, the corruption, the nepotism, disgusting. Anyway, he continued. Oh, apparently it's not clear if this is still one of his homes. Gosh. So that was on the Home and Country website. It's only a handful of the homes. On this other website, where is it? It goes into a little bit more detail about some of the properties. Isn't it? You know, all these castles. How much are these cost? Look, how much are they costing to upkeep? Just never ends, does it? Let's go to the top of this because, sorry, I've got to share it. The Extraordinary Homes of King Charles III. I mean, look at that picture. Sorry. At least I haven't got crowns on and that, but look at that. How ridiculous does he look? I mean, really, he's sort of like, oh, mummy, finally I'm king, finally. You know, that's what he wanted, wasn't it? To be king. He wanted to be king. He's surrounded by all that opulence, telling us to lead a simple life. He had the new thrones made for his coronation. I think that must be fur around his neck. You know, he doesn't care that, you know, at the end of the day, people don't like fur these days. He doesn't care. He just wants to look regal. He just, you know what, all his life, he's wanted to sit there with that scepter and that crown on his head, hasn't he? Gosh. So he has an annual income of well over £150 million, making him the highest paid monarch in history. God, he decided to reject a 32.5 million pay rise from his wind farm profits in 2023. Oh, that was big of him, wasn't it? Oh my God, Charles, how are you going to manage? How are you going to manage? Dear me. So the wind farm windfall was a result of a £1 billion renewable energy deal secured by the Crown Estate involving the sale of offshore wind farm licenses, and his rejection of the increase in income reflects what has been reported as his desire for a slimmed down monarchy. Well, yeah, we can see that, can't we? He just wants everything to be simpler and slimmed down. Oh, dear me. If you believe that, you believe anything. So, it says they live at Clarence House. So, if they live at Clarence House, why does she need her other home? You know, why do they need all the other properties? Why can't they just live in one property like everybody else and open the others up to the public? So, it's a short walk from Buckingham Palace. So why? Why do they need that if they've got Buckingham Palace? And he undertook a £4.4 million renovation of the property, engaging his favourite interior designer, Robert Kime, and spending a further £1.6 million of his own money, remember, on soft furnishings. People fall for it every time. Oh, they're entitled to all these houses. Of course they are. Yes. There's veterans from the British Army that haven't got homes to live in, haven't got living under a cardboard box. And these people are foul people. They're greedy people. No matter what they've got, they want more. You know, it's just foul. And, you know, Andrew, he's a horrible person, but do you know what? He's just been thrown under the bus. They're all the same. Look at how ridiculous does this look? Look. You know, these are just not why do people revere them so much? What have they done? You tell me that apart from the Queen, that, you know, I think everyone, the Queen, I don't mean this Queen, this false Queen, I don't mean Shamilla, I mean the real Queen, you know, who did seem to work hard and put a lot in and take, you know, her duties seriously, at least, even though, you know, she's another one that turned a blind eye to everything. As far as Andrew was concerned, and as far as her own husband was concerned, and Louis Mountbatten was concerned, you know, she's not blameless either. She had a close relationship with Rolf Harris, you know, or, you know, I just think either the royal family are completely thick because they they build up these relationships with PDFs. Hugh Edwards, he was another one. So all these people that are, you know, have they just got bad judgment, or are they in it up to their neck? So Andrew's the scapegoat. Andrew's done bad things and he's being held up for it and he's been sacrificed. For the rest of this, I mean, look at them there. That's just, to me, it doesn't represent good things about Britain. There are good things about Britain. I'm proud of being British, but it's got nothing to do with the royal family. The royal family, to me, they're just parasites. They don't represent the good of Britain at all. They're jealous. They're greedy. They're whatever they've got, they want more. And they say one thing and they do another. You know, they keep saying, so what's this about Buckingham Palace? So Buckingham Palace has been undergoing extensive renovations since 2017, which are expected to be completed by 2027 at a cost of 369 million. But due to the King's ongoing illness with cancer, it's thought unlikely that the King and Queen will ever move in. God. So he apparently was born at Buckingham Palace and christened in the music room with water from the River Jordan. Oh, God. Oh, it's just so ridiculous. Just so ridiculous. It's like going, you know, the thing is, times have moved on. Times have moved on, but the royal family hasn't moved on at all. Gosh, Andrew will be there, won't he? Is that Andrew there? Hey. Kensington Palace. So another palace that needs upkeep. This is the prince. This served as the principal residence of Queen Anne. Oh, not our Valley. Sorry, I'm speaking in Spanish. So not Princess Anne. No, Queen Anne, the subject of the Oscar-winning film The Favourite, but the property fell out of favour after her reign and was divided into apartments. So who's sort of upmarket housing estate for royals? Well, why couldn't Andrew have gone there then in an apartment? At the age of 32, following his fairy tale wedding to Lady Diana Spencer in 1981, the former prince and his new wife moved into London's Kensington Palace. And apartments 8 and 9 were combined to create a new large home for the newlyweds. Well, that didn't work out, did it? There you go. There's the gardens. They need upkeeping. The dog poo needs picking up, I suppose. Aye. So the palace itself is divided into different apartments that traditionally serve as homes for non-ruling members of the immediate royal family, such as the Prince and Princess Michael of Kent in apartment 10. Yeah. So sad, isn't it? No, you know, knowing what we know now, that man is sat there. He's got his son. He's got Willie on his knee. Diana's there, and Charles is probably just thinking when we can see Shamilla next. Do you remember the phone calls that came out where he said he wished he was a tampon? Do you remember that? And he's on the phone to Shamilla, and it was probably the Sunday News of the World or something that hacked into his phone calls. And he's on the phone to Shamilla saying that he wished he was a tampon. So all the time he was with Diana, all the time he was still seeing Shamilla. So as he sat there playing daddy, was he thinking, oh, I can't wait to see Shamilla tomorrow? And, you know, Diana, she did what was expected of her. She provided him with 2 sons, an heir and a spare. And then once she'd done that, really, the gloves were off, weren't they? You know, she'd done what she was supposed to do. Charles didn't need her anymore. He only needed Diana to provide him with sons. He could not marry Shamila because she was already married. You know, it shows what a weak man he is, really, because he should have stood up then and said, I'm going to marry Shamila. I love Shamila. I'm going to marry her. He should have stood up, you know, been a man and, you know, stood up for the woman that supposedly he loved. And of course, Shamila's a different breed to Diana because she accepted that because she was just thinking, oh, I'll be queen one day. I'll be queen one day. That'll be what they'll have talked about. That'll be what he'll have said to her. Don't worry, Shamila, you're the one that I love. I'll get rid of it. Once she's given me some children, I'll get rid of her one way or another, and I'll marry you, and you will be queen. And that's what he did. But I tell you what, karma is a big thing because I don't think it's ever going to make them happy. So when they separated, he moved to St. James's Palace. Another palace. How many palaces do you need? For fuck's sake. Sorry, excuse my French, but it makes me so angry, the greed of it. How many palaces do you need? Literally. Oh, there he is with the boys. And he resided at York House with Princes William and Harry till 2002. So the property is said to comprise a number of low-pitched rooms on the ground floor, several small drawing rooms on the first floor, and servants' quarters on the top floor that have exceedingly low ceilings. Yes, put the plebs with the low ceilings, put the plebs where the low ceilings are. A legend states there are myriad tunnels running beneath St. James's Palace that lead to various gentlemen's clubs in the area. Winemaker Berry Brothers and Rudd, as well as Buckingham Palace. Do you think that's true? I wouldn't be surprised because, you know, like they won't want to go out in the public all the time. You know, they want to pop to the gentlemen's club, pop in the tunnel. Nobody would know he'd gone. The public, I mean, obviously security detail would have to go with him. You know, these are not little, oh my God. The king hosts events in the state apartments of St. James's Palace. He's pictured here at York House at dinner for the Asian Trust. Then another one, Highgrove House. Again, look at the gardens. You know, I'm just a little bit speechless. It's like the more you look into it, the worse it gets. Yeah, no wonder he sat there smirking. Gosh. There they were in happier times, but again, he's having his photo taken there with Diana and the kids, and he's probably thinking, oh, what time can I get away from here to go and visit Shamila? Or phone her. Dear me. A champion of organic farming and sustainability long before it went mainstream, he believes gardening helps heal damaged souls. Now, I agree with they say that gardening helps with your mental health, but do you know what? He's got a bigger garden than most people. Some people haven't even got a house, never mind a garden. And, you know, it's like he's so privileged to have all those homes. I mean, even the most staunch monarchist, whether you believe in the monarchy or you don't believe in the monarchy, everyone must see that having over 16 homes in all different parts of the world is not necessary. Why can't he have one big garden or even 2? But, why does he need all these big gardens and castles and things? I don't know. And all these get decorated on a regular basis and it costs fortunes. Anyway, here's another castle in Aberdeenshire, that Burke Hall Castle. 53,000 acres. How big's your garden? Dear, oh dear. I remember when Shamila was Queen Consort and then they snuck in the fact, started calling her the Queen. She's not the Queen. They're saying it's unpretentious, this place. It's unpretentious. Yes, it's just a little house in the country. The Queen Mother called it a small big house or a big small house. It's hosted 6 royal honeymoons. Aye, 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 aye. So saying that when he went to Gordonstoun, that's a strict Scottish prep school that he was sent to that he hated. He described it as coldits and kilts. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So when he's at Burke Hall, he's said to spend his time fishing, stalking deer, sketching and watercolour painting. Good God. Another redecoration happened after the Queen Mother's death. More redecoration, more refurbishments. So it's said to feature Royal Stuart tartan on the floors and walls, plus a number of quirky features, including 11 grandfather clocks in the dining room. Oh, we've got another Scottish property, Dumfries House in Ayrshire. He obviously loves Scotland. I mean, Scotland's a beautiful place. Yeah. When did he buy that? Look at it. I mean, listen, I believe in sort of history and, maintaining beautiful places like this. But these are homes why do they need so many properties? So apparently it was purchased for the nation, in 2007 by a consortium led by King Charles at a cost of £45 million, with the monarch putting in 20 million from his own charitable foundation's funds. What? From his own charitable... It's not his then, is it? The stately home was in a poor state of repair when Charles acquired it, and an extensive restoration was carried out. The house was open to the public in 2008. Well, that's good. The idea is for the estate to be self-sufficient and help regenerate the local economy. Okay. He received much praise for saving the estate and providing the local community in Cumnock with much needed employment opportunities. Okay, we'll accept that, we'll take that. And as part of the project, an eco-village called Knockroon, similar to the King's experimental new town of Poundbury in Dorset, was undertaken in the grounds of Dumfries House. And this picture shows the mansion's elegant drawing room restored to its former glory. So, chillingly, Queen Shamila, she's not a queen, is convinced the house was haunted. It had a really eerie feel about it. It's probably Diana haunting her. She revealed in an ITV, I wish Diana would haunt her. She revealed that in the ITV documentary, The Real Shamila, HRH, the Duchess of Cornwall. There was definitely a ghost without shadow of a doubt. Yeah, probably Diana. Then another castle, the Castle of May in Caithness, Scotland. Oh, this is the Queen Mother. Sorry. Oh, dear me. So there's the Queen Mother's outfit. She's probably haunting that place near me. Another place restored. Oh, he doesn't own this castle. It belongs to the King's Foundation. And he travels there every year in late August with his wife for a 10-day stay. So do you know what he does? He just spends his whole year going from castle to castle, from place to place. There's very little to do at the castle aside for playing board games and venturing out for bracing walks. Sounds good. Harry and Meghan enjoyed a romantic break there in 2018. And whether they encountered the resident ghost is anyone's guess. The castle is rumoured to be haunted by the Green Lady. Sorry, I'm just laughing. I'm so childish. The ghost of Lady Fanny Sinclair, who is said to have had an affair with a stable hand in the 1880s. Oh, God, so there's a bit of Lady Chatterley's lover coming in there. Do you remember, what was that ghost thing, the haunted bridges we looked at, and it was Fanny Scratcher or something? Why are all these ghosts called Fanny? So we had Fanny Scratcher, now we've got Fanny Sinclair. Anyway, apparently when her father found out, he banished the young man, and the heartbroken Lady Fanny Sinclair supposedly took her own life, bless her. Oh, dear me. There's that place in Wales that I can't pronounce. In another effort to streamline the monarchic footprint and reduce the cost of his properties, he gave up the lease on his Welsh home in 2023. Who owns it now then? So it's actually made up of 3 cottages, a Grade 2 listed barn and the main house. Yep, more transformations. Gardens to maintain. Who owns it now? Anyway, here's the property in the Scilly Isles. Surprisingly modest 4-bedroom bungalow on St Mary's in the Isles of Scilly was 20-year-old Charles's first proper property purchase. He bagged the compact, it's not really that compact, is it, bachelor pad in 1969 through the Duchy of Cornwall and spent a royal Christmas there the same year. It's been updated since then. So before their separation, he went there often with Princess Diana, but they didn't. They stayed in neighbouring Tamarisk because the bungalow was too small for them, too small. And this is where this is another place, Tamarisk House. Oh, you can rent this one with the Duchy of Cornwall holiday cottages. Yeah, gosh, yes. So if you want to go and stay somewhere where the royal family have stayed, Diana, Charles, you can go and stay here. A 7-night stay costs around £5,000 in high season, which I know it's a lot of money, but for a royal property, you think that's not too bad, is it? But I won't be going. I couldn't afford to go there, that's for sure. But yeah, the Scilly Isles are still a favourite with the king. He took the Queen, Camilla, there shortly after they were married. They stayed at Dolphin House on Tresno in 2021. So he's taken Shamila now round all these places where he used to go with Diana. Here's his Transylvanian estate in Romania, famed for its association with Count Dracula and brutal real-life ruler Vlad the Impaler. Transylvania is one of King Charles's favourite holiday destinations. He visited the region of Romania in 1998, not long after the death of Diana, and was so smitten with the place he went on to buy 2 properties there. Now, I didn't know about this, but I think I may have mentioned in another stream, I had a student who was Romanian. She told me they think he's wonderful in Romania. This lady that came for classes with me, Spanish classes, she'd lived in Britain for years. I mean, years, like 20 years. She was a paramedic, a care assistant. She, contributed to British society, and she was more British than me in a lot of senses because she loved the royal family, absolutely adored the royal family. And, after Brexit, she started getting xenophobic abuse from her own patients, her and her husband, who was also a paramedic. And they'd be with patients. Patients would be telling them to get back to their own country where they came from, blah, de, blah, de, blah. And so she came to live in Spain. And that was a big loss for Britain. I think, Brexit was a disaster for Britain. Lost so many good people like her. She was so British, endemically British in her, she might have been from Romania, but she loved everything about Britain. And she contributed, her and her husband contributed, with their taxes, etc. But also, being paramedics, being care assistants. And now, Britain's loss is Spain's gain because she came over to Spain. She'll be doing the same thing here. Just Brexit was a complete disaster, wasn't it? Anyway, so there you go. So when Charlie Boy gets fed up, he can always go off to Romania as well, to his Transylvanian estate, which looks beautiful, but again will cost money to upkeep. So he's been known to stay at the cottages when he visits Romania, but for the rest of the year they are rented out to holidaymakers. So again, you want to go and stay somewhere that King Charlie Boy has stayed, go and stay there. So the regally named Prince's Room is the most opulent and said to be where the king sleeps when he is in town. The spacious bedroom wows with a carved king-sized twin bed adorned with heritage textiles, hand-picked by the Count. The Count? Count? Who's the Count? And his staff. And you can rent it for around £213 a night. Full board in high season when the king is not in residence. Again, it's doable, isn't it? It's expensive, but you could go and stay, spend one night. Just as an experience. Maybe you'd actually be sleeping in Charlie's bed, though I don't think I quite like the idea of that, to be honest. Not if Shamila's been in it, especially. Okay, so, I mean, I just wanted to come on and tell you about Charles's homes because to me, there's so much double speak, all this about Andrew. They send him off to Sandringham, which is a massive estate to live. It's not. They're making it sound like some sort of punishment. Why didn't they send him off to Romania or to that tiny place on the Scilly Isles or whatever that they said was small, the bachelor pad? Send him off there. Send him off somewhere completely different. But no, send him off to Sandringham. So it's not really that much of a, it's not that awful, is it, at the end of the day? There's Andrew being hung out to dry. But it's not going to stop here. This is going to continue. But anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God, as always, go with you.